Hello, good morning. Hi, it is 10:10 a.m. on Saturday, November 17th, 2018, and we're still making indie games. So, let's recap the week. I think at the end of the last stream I mostly just hung out and chatted with everybody, which is fun. Ideally this stream we get some work done, but I don't really have much of a plan here. I think you noticed at the end of the last stream I started thinking about what the UI should look like. I've never been super jazzed with how the UI looks. Historically. My god, I have a million things open. So towards the end of the last stream I started thinking about what I wanted the UI to look like, and I pushed on that on Monday. On Tuesday I set that aside entirely and I worked with Mitchell, my musician, because we've been trying to hash out some of the soundtrack for the end of the game, and it's not quite coming together yet. So we were pitching different sound ideas, and I put together some videos and things, and largely that we mostly scrapped everything I did that day, so that kind of sucked. But on the upside, we do have some other ideas to pursue. So on Tuesday, I was mostly thinking about music and getting nowhere. That day was probably a total wash. Wednesday, I started overhauling the UI to look more like this. And then I continued that on Friday. On Thursday, I had to go into the office. And it is now Saturday. So I worked a bit on the UI after work on Thursday as well. So it's been like 2.5 days of trying to come up with a better UI system. What I had before I don't think was working very well. What I have now I think works a lot better. I'm going to turn off audio because I can't, don't want to be hearing this all the time. So yeah, this is actually a lot of work. There's a lot of hours put into this. But the idea is, this is not a new game, but the idea is these are the sections I've already unlocked and completed. You can mouse over them like this. If you have more than a couple, we'll get a scroll bar. That scroll bar looks like ass. I have no idea what it's all going to look like. Right now I'm just trying to, my first thing was to get it functional. But yeah, so we have a scrolling list for each of the sections. This was huge, getting this all in and working. You still see the icons moving along over there on the world map. And just kind of like figuring out what this would look and feel like was a big thing. This also works with a controller, so you can select different sections and different characters, or different levels in a section here. And if I unlock all, you can see this is kind of loosely set up. This is every section in the game right now. You can go between the different areas. These are the different sections that you can play on in this area. This required a lot of rework because before I had the ability to zoom into an area and then zoom back out to like, if I click here. Before it was always you go into one and then you can only ever go back to the main level select. Whereas now you can go from like the book to the calendar to the heartbreak. And that's still not really super well set up. I'm still working on that. Can you guys even hear me? I'm paranoid, I didn't check my mic. Yeah, you can, okay. So yeah, getting all this in, getting the highlighting working, you have no idea. I kind of crunched on this a bit, but considering it's only 2 days, I'm actually incredibly proud of how much I've gotten done here. This obviously needs a lot of rework. I'm still in the middle of all this. I'm at that point where you've taken it like, you know, you can get 80% of the way there and 20% of the time. I'm there right now. Everything's functional. I can do everything with both a controller and a mouse. You can go like this. You can go up and down. Did I lose the ability to go up and down? Interesting. I should get to a place where the whole game's playable by controller. There's a lot of things that are going wrong here. Alright, let's keep pushing because there's so much here that's broken I haven't even made a list yet. Let's start with the last piece of this UI. Like, I first put in a wireframe. I recorded some of this. I might make a time-lapse video later, but the last thing left of the wireframe that I never updated was the scroll bar because I don't know how. And I do just want to change that color at least, so it at least looks like I know what I'm doing here. Yeah, okay. I wish there was a way. So the way I set this all up is there's just different scroll boxes that show and hide depending on which section you're in. And they're always there, they're just hidden, like behind each other. But that means anytime I update the attribute, I have to update it on the scroll box for every single section, which is not ideal. So this is what I have. Disable those two. Can I make an image? What is the thumb? Let's see, let's just throw an image in there and see what it is. Like, let's make you this for no reason. Okay, yeah, so that's the actual scroll bar. I mean, it's flickering because I didn't change the hover, so... But it looks like... Is there a way to make it so it doesn't grow like that? Because you know like how the scroll bar is really wide sometimes and it shortens? Hey Marcos, what's up, man? Most things I do are custom, but this is like... If they have a built-in scroll bar, I don't want to fuck with it. Dude, check this out. You know what I was really fucking happy about? No one will appreciate this. It automatically scrolls when you go up and down with a controller or WASD. Auto scroll. That's right, bitches. Auto scroll. You have no idea. You have no idea what this took. I lost my mind. Okay. But yeah. So the thumb must be the thing that moves. Looks like Unreal by default scales it. Yeah, this is Unreal. What do I want to do here? I mean, if Unreal's going to scale it, it can't be a circle. It's got to be a box, right? Oh. What happens if I tell you to draw as an image? hovered and dragged as well. Let's see what it does. Okay, that made no difference. Draw a 3x3 border where the side's tile and the middle is empty. Oh, hey Dario, what's up, dude? You're from Alan's or Draknek's Discord, right? Or am I losing my mind? Been creeping on you guys. Word. It's coming along. Looks a lot more like a game than it did. Check it out. I feel like a god, man. I redid the UI in like 2 days, basically. But it's so much better. It feels like a game now. Like there's different areas. You can go to the different sections. Check out the dance floor. Choose different levels. This is obviously stub. They load. You wanna know what else? I think at one point I was complaining on the stream. I was like, God damn it. Because I asked Alan for feedback and some of the stuff he said was really smart, but it was very like, there's an established control scheme and like R should reset the level and stuff. And he's right. And so I changed and I added that control scheme. And I didn't realize it, but when I was showing off the game, I don't remember where, somebody pointed out you can play the entire game with one hand. And that's entirely because I was supporting the puzzle script control scheme. I didn't realize how smart that was. Cool. Thanks, Marcos. Oh, you're in Draknek's Discord as well? Oh, you're the guy with the other... You also have the box game, yeah? I'm gonna play that at some point. Yeah. 2 days, motherfucker. I can't believe... Every now and then something just comes together, and this UI did. I mean, I need to get somebody to play it and tell me if it's good. If one of you guys is free at some point, I'll put this up on Steam. Probably later, when it's a little bit less glitchy. But it should support... It should support controller. Oh god, the thing is, so it supports controller if you just load the game, but if you start using mouse and keyboard, it spontaneously stops working. Does it? I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Oh, or maybe it's when I use a cheat. I have a kind of cheat code to unlock the game. But there's a lot of stuff like this is not really well thought out yet. All the art's still super temp. They're in a boat. But yeah. Figuring out the transition between this section and like these sections. I don't have a solution for that yet. What I need to do is for these bigger areas where you like have these sweeping motions in order to enter that section, like the boat level, it needs to have a little cinematic that goes in. I need to structure something into the hood that says, don't just lerp the camera and load into the calendar, instead play some kind of outro and then go into the calendar. because before what would happen is like you'd go into a section, you always have to go out, and then you can go into the next section, and then you have to go out. Whereas now you can go directly from any of them to any of them, and that's just breaking everything. Some things work. The things that are a little bit less fleshed out work. But like the bigger ones, that looks like more like ass than usual. Oh, the wave is nauseating? That's interesting. I don't want to make people nauseous. How many different characters? Technically there's only 3, but they have different loadouts. You'll see. It's gonna be... yeah. So there's only 3 characters. Euler, Quat, and Rue. And they just do different things depending on where you are. Like, this area... here, let me show you. So they all have like their kind of solo journey, right? Which is just getting to know them. It's a bad example. Just like, this is Quat. He's a drummer. He's a big nerd. And this is just them playing alone, right? And then they've got different things like Euler has a huge crush on Rue, and they can go off and they can like get in a boat together. And that's those kind of sliding puzzles. And then they can, later on, Euler and Rue can build a dance floor. And then they dance together. Well, it's like these kind of levels. I don't remember how this works. Yeah, I do. And this just kind of completely changes the mechanics just because it is so different when you have these kind of sliding things. So the characters don't change, and they have their own little stories, right? Like, wait, how do I get back? Oh, yeah. Anyway, they have banter and they have their little stories together. But because the dance floor is very different because it tends to have a lot of little sliding platforms that you move between versus like, for instance, when they're on a boat together, there's just the boat, right? And they've just got to figure out how to get around on their boat. Like, this is one halfway through. This one's lame because it's all Rue. But yeah, this is, anyway, this is Euler. Euler's a trombone. And this is Rue. Rue's an accordion. That's the boat. So Euler is in love with Rue. Quat is pretty much all business, but he's a huge pain in the ass. So here they are, they're like doing a job together. These are the levels, this is not sliding. This is just a box that you can push. You can see why I suddenly became obsessed with Draknek's work, right? Like, I didn't know what a Sokoban was when I started this. I thought I was like a god and this had never been done before. And then I found out there's like a whole community of you guys that have been doing this forever. I tried ice blocks and Trep Up, but decided to reverse the chaos. Sliding definitely changes things. How do I put it? It's harder to give people the way you design the puzzles is different because you have to, it's easy for someone to get themselves into a state where they can't win or can't move, at least with this game. And so I wind up cutting the vast majority of the levels because there's so many, it's just not fun. If you navigate yourself into a place where you just can't move, especially if you don't realize messed up until 4 moves later and then you have to undo 5 times. That happens a lot. It's just not fun. Yeah. Yeah, I can't really describe it well. You get me though, right, Marco? Marcos? Marcos done? I'm glad you guys like the art style. That's one of the things I'm actually most self-conscious about. It definitely needs, I don't know. We'll see. I have plans. I think... I don't know. We'll see. Have you guys not seen this at all yet? Have you heard the music? Alright, check this out. I'm gonna assume you haven't. I'll play the music. I'll play you something new too, so people who've been here before have not heard this. Yeah, that's one of my fears, Marcos. That is way too dark. So there's a base that's constant throughout the entire game. You have a constant basis, right? And here's a section where oil and root can break up. This is the opposite of all the others. In all the others, as you progress through, you slowly build a composition. And this one, it slowly breaks down. Also, the art here is not done at all. This is still gray box. It's weird. There it is. I don't remember how to beat this. Anyway, you get the idea. Usually there's a stack of music that builds, and this one it kind of peels away and it gets weirder and darker. That's something Mitchell's working on right now. If any character touches the goal, is the level finished? There's different conditions for different areas. So, like in the boat level, the boat has to reach the goal. Let me think. Right now, I'm thinking about changing it for these. This is the one area I haven't touched in forever. That's the wrong thing. This is the one area I haven't touched in forever. And for these, you still need to hit all 3 goals, but I'm not sure if that's fun or not. This is the stuff where they've got to, like, work together. I don't remember how to do this. I think you need to be here. I really haven't touched this in forever. These are actually probably too hard. No, he needs to be... Maybe there. And then what? Oh, right, okay. But yeah, this I probably need to think on again. It's been a while. I feel like if you figure that out, you should win, right? I don't feel like you should have to do this. I feel like that's good. Yeah, I mean, it took a lot of experimentation to get here, dude. Been working on those for a while. At least those were some of the earlier ones. That was when I thought I was like really onto something, was when I figured out how to make those levels. But like for every one that's in the game, there's like 5 that are cut. But yeah, so I think actually I'm gonna look through those again and I'm gonna play through, and I suspect I'm gonna make it so that for those levels, if you get the top character out, you win. Just because the others, it was every time I designed them, the ways that were the most interesting was trying to get the characters to work together to get one character out, and then the others always felt like gimmies anyway for the most part. How many levels? I counted the other day. We're at like, I mean, some of them are really easy is the thing. So there's this whole idea here in the monotony area where they like get a day job, and the whole theme is like every day is exactly the same. So there's nearly infinite of this shit just to see if somebody will actually get through it. Just like every day is exactly the same, just slightly different. Basically exactly the same thing. So yeah, if you don't count those, there's still about 100 and so. And if you get through, like there's about 20 in the calendar area, and there are a couple of interesting ones there. There's about just over 100 everywhere else. The game should be about 4 hours, 5 hours actually, based on how long it's taken people. Well, I don't know. So far the only time, so I've taken it to a show, and I kind of like looked at how quickly people got through in 15 minutes, and I was trying to extrapolate based on that how long the game would be, and that puts it at 4 hours. But the early stuff is really easy. But then again, people are learning. It's probably gonna be close to 5 hours. Yeah, it's entirely solo. I'm sorry. I have a musician I'm working with though. And he's really cool. But yeah, he just basically gives me wave files and I put them in the game. So I do have him helping with the music, but all the art is me and all the programming and shit. That's why it's taking forever. I'm hoping that'll change. I'm still theoretically talking to people. I don't even know if I hope that anymore. I might just want to self-publish this and be done with it. Either way, it's coming out this year. If I get funding, I'll hire up some of my friends and we'll overhaul the background art a bit. Like I've got some ideas for what I want to do there. Specifically, just the level work needs work. I would love to just hire somebody to fucking handle the options menu. I don't want to do it. Or things like I mean, there's a lot of little narrative beats. I don't mind doing those. I'd love to do those. But I'd love to have Effectsville help out with some effects for them. Things like the... I can't even get out of this at this point. I got rid of the main menu. The landing page, or the main menu needs work. It's just a lot of work to do. But I would love to offload certain tasks. But we'll see. It'll all get done one way or another. What else was I gonna do? Alright. I was looking at the scroll bar. That's right. I'm gonna turn off the music again. So yeah, this scroll bar is going to stretch, it looks like. Looks like that's just what it's going to do. Can't even click it anymore. Can only mouse wheel it. I would love feedback on the new UI, Marcos. Like, if you're free this weekend. Yeah, here, let me start up a list. Because this is such a huge overhaul. I need some time to like test the game and make sure it's not more broken than I suspect. But I'm gonna probably want like a handful of new people to play. Then again, there is a... yeah, give me a week or two. But I would love your feedback. What am I looking for? Trello? I'm gonna try to use a Trello board. This is one of those things. I'm like, Trello's easy enough. I can at least keep lists on there. Alright. I wrote you down as Marcos D from DirectNext Discord. Yeah, I'll ping you on Discord at some point. Specifically because I suck at UI. And this level select screen is, took a while to come up with this, which is, like, you should have seen the build of the game last month. I didn't know what to do for the level select screen for basically ever. And I finally came up with this. Oh, my computer's chugging for no reason. Why are you chugging, computer? All right. Let's learn about Unreal's default scroll bar. Okay. You know, I could hide the scroll bar entirely and come up with... No, just fucking use what they have, man. I don't have time for this shit. What if for now we just make it a box? We just pick a color. Later, Daria. Why can I no longer select this? It's not even registering as being hovered. Oh, there it is. Interesting. Right, I was glitched out because I was in a menu I couldn't technically be in. Man, I just don't like how it's drawing at all. Don't like how it scales. What even is that? I don't know what that's doing. Seems to just be tiling it. So these are my options. I think the scroll bar is just going to be big and thick, and I just have to design a scroll bar that looks good for that. And I can either tile an image, use a blank color, or stretch an image. Yeah. Fuck. Oh, what the hell is this? It looks so weird. What even are you? It looks like it's glitched out. Yeah, I'm just so used to Unreal. Like, I can't go back. I'm so fast with it. I've used it for so long. And once you do know it, it's insanely powerful. You can, like, I made a game in entirely blueprint script. There's no code in this game whatsoever. It's crazy how powerful it is. But there's the initial hurdle of learning it. Of the engines I've used, it's one of the easiest ones I've gotten into. Like, I never used Unity, but back in the day I used Big World, which was a nightmare. We briefly touched CryEngine. I dabbled for a bit. I mean, obviously I've used custom engines back in college. We dabbled a bit with, what was a Marvel Heroes Online. We were looking at the engine they use for Titan Quest. That was kind of a nutty story, because that engine isn't really owned by anybody. Like, Titan Quest, I don't know, there's a whole thing about how that studio went down and shit. But the guy that, basically one dude owns all the source code, and he's not like a company with a lawyer or anything, right? So his idea of letting us evaluate it was he flew out to San Francisco on a plane, and he sat there with his laptop with the source code on it while the engineers looked through it. And he's like, you may now evaluate the code. We're like, we're gonna want this for a couple days. No, the code does not leave my site. It's like, yeah, dude, this is a non-starter. We're not gonna be using this. But I think it went down in a weird way where one individual owned the source code for Titan Quest. And was real weird about letting people evaluate it. So I don't know if he ever actually licensed it out to anybody, or if he just owns it and has it like on a shelf somewhere. Which is always a shame. I wish people used tech more. I say that, and then every time I complete a game, I throw away everything and start over again. So I don't know. Do as I say, not as I do, I guess. So why is this glitching out exactly? What's the deal here? Box. Maybe I just need to change it and then change it back. And then compile it and save it. Or just wiggle things. No, it still looks all super broken. What the hell? Okay, we're back to good. Hey Middle, what's up dude? Long time no see. Yeah, I don't feel like I stream as much as I used to in the beginning. Or maybe I do. Maybe I just feel guilt. I hate this. Several things about this need to change. Get away with slightly more. No, you stay. I said the wrong thing. So the way this works is a little bit iffy because the scroll bar is tied to the edge of this panel, so it's hard to explain. But because of the way the layers are laid out, like I had to do some weird shit here where like the scroll panels are all actually multiplied by -1 because that was the only way I get the scroll bar on the other side. By default, Unreal always puts the scroll bar on the right. And then all the elements in the box are scaled by -1 and X as well in order to compensate. Basically, this is the reason why this is getting all weird and funky is it has to. And also, I'm sorry. This is not very clean, but I also kind of want to hide that edge where something scrolls off the screen and you don't see it anymore. And also, what the hell? Some of these are in different places than others. Are they? Or am I crazy? No, I'm crazy. Okay. I mean, I streamed a lot of this stuff, Marcos. If you want, it's all backed up to YouTube, so you can like thumb through and look at like you can look at me playing around. Like I started in September last year before I'd come up with most of the mechanics. Back when all I had was the idea that there's these 3 characters and they kind of like can work together. And I experimented with different things, and all that's on a lot of that's on YouTube. As for how to do something in Blueprint, that's like asking how to do something in C# or how to do something in any language. It's just a language. It's a more limited language in a lot of ways, but it's also, I mean, the UI in particular is extremely limiting, but all the basic math is there and shit, right? I don't know what else to say. If you have any questions, I'm going to just show you the code for any given part if you want. I don't really care. Okay, so all I did, the reason I did that is because now it hides this edge, so you don't see the cutoff for the checkbox. Which maybe that's a stupid solution, but whatever. No, I still hate the scroll bar though. I wish I could shrink it. I actually didn't have to go to the edge of the screen. I hate so many things about it. I hate that it's fat like this. It was just a little thing. Probably getting upset over nothing here. Let's just change the colors and call it a day. Hey Pro Puke, what's up, dude? No, those are the wrong colors. I need to look at scroll bars. This is, I know this is not the thing I should be wasting my time on, but what's a game that has a scroll bar and a painted art style? You'd think I'd have like a list of games at this point. for Access games. Don't go to what you know. Yeah, I like their scroll bars. Damn it. They're kind of fat though. This is not gonna work. Ugh. No. See, I want something like this, but that doesn't have that aesthetic. The idea that it's just a image that you drag. I'm not gonna write a custom scroll bar today, guys. And that would be irresponsible. I have too much to do. Guild Wars. It's just a brush. That's it. Like a literally one stroke that I've copy and pasted over and over and over. In fact, I can show it to you. It is this stroke right here. Copy and pasted like a motherfucker. Guild Wars. It's the fastest way to find it. ProPuke, do you have an image? I mean, this looks pretty basic. I imagine it's gonna have the same scroll bar everybody does. Yeah. It's fine. And just up and down arrows, I thought about that, but I don't know why I resisted that, but I did. It feels so old-timey when all you have is like those arrows. It feels kludgy. It doesn't feel modern. It feels like you're working in some kind of old tech whenever you see that. I also just think these elements are taking up too much space. I don't think this is well designed. Like, it's just too thick. That's a problem, I think. If you don't have scroll bars, but use the Y coordinate as the scroll phase. I mean, basically, like, kind of create a scroll bar, but not using their tech. That's tempting. I'm definitely thinking about it. Oh crap. That definitely, didn't think that through all the way. I like that I can at least get 4 on here before it starts scrolling, though. Okay, we're getting closer. You know, this is like what you should never do, is noodle over UI forever. Especially early on when everything's definitely gonna change. Yes. Maybe there. What else was I gonna do? Yeah, no. What I want to do is adjust the space between the lines on this. It's the little things, man, that I can't control that drive me crazy. Like the kerning and the text. I can't fuck with the space between the lines. I don't think I can. Yeah, there's no way to do this. I, I don't even mean paragraph line spacing, Michael. I just mean line spacing. Like, I didn't hit enter here. This is just one line that's wrapping. I don't know why. It looks like ass to me. Probably because it looks like ass. I should go back to just having it be all spaced out. Maybe, like, have this be small but bold. There's only default. Okay, things to worry about. Why is it when I hit the end of the list I go to the top? I thought I got rid of that. That is level select. Functions. Navigate to adjacent section. If you are... So when I hit down on the controller or S, I should offset by 1. Okay, yes, this is just finding the last known one. So yeah, it'll take current, get the last known. It should find if you're greater than the last index. This is not working. Right? Add a breakpoint. Let's figure it out. Okay, when I go down, I'm at the very bottom. This is false. Why is this false? Nope, that should be false. Good. It's not above the top. Offset is 1. You're adding 1 to this. That's correct. The last index is 3. Current index is 3, so it should be 4. It should say 4 is greater than 3. Yeah, and you hit the end of the scroll list. Wait, why are you doing anything after that? And then stop, you fool. Well, that was the easiest bug ever. Okay. No longer wrapping. Good. Man, I'm getting a lot of glare when I like that there's sun, but I can't see shit. Okay, I swear I'm not going to do this forever. I just want to change this one more time. This is going to move up. Let's move down just a bit. Okay, let's not fussing with this. I need a way to back out to the main menu. Let's make that. So this container that I haven't used in forever called main buttons. I'll just put the cheat box and this arrow into that. And I'm going to put main buttons over here. And this is highly confusing. So let's just call you... Let's just use a normal button here. Wait, are you a normal button? What are you? Yeah, you already are. Isn't there a way to put text on a button? You know, I don't know the backstory of this button anymore. Making a new button. That one's doing weird shit. You're the back button. Can I put text on you? I swear, I thought the default Unreal button had text. Am I crazy? There it is. I knew it was possible. Back centered. I'll really phone this one in. Make it look super temp. Because I don't know what that's going to look like yet. Oh, a text block doesn't have spacing settings, but rich text block does with the style definition. Interesting, Michael Mayhem. Let's look into that immediately. Rich text block? Oh, so I'm like in poverty over here with my text block? Is that the deal? Well, la-di-fucking-da. It's new in 4.17. Okay. Don't want no fucking proletariat text block, man. Got the good shit now. $36, $54. All right. There's decorator classes and shit. There's jewelry up on this bitch. This is the text block I was looking for. Alright. I assume there's like a thing that I can make for this. Like a style definition. Data table. Is this all exposed to Blueprint? Let's start Googling shit. E for text strong set. Oh, I don't want to read your dissertation, bro. Decorative classes. Oh yeah, okay, this is a programming thing. Yeah, I feel like this is the same thing I see in the proletariat text box. Oh my god, it's in the proletariat text box. Yeah, okay, I don't even need this. That's fine. That other text block was probably problematic. Line height percentage. Here, I need a test. Test. You're not gonna. You are gonna render. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. It was here the whole time. I just had to hit the down arrow. You're the man. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. We don't need no riches. Alright, what were we doing? Yeah. That's whatever. Figured it out. Oh yeah, I still hate it, but we're getting there. And the back button, we now have a back button. We can play the game. That obviously needs work because that looks like ass. You can back out. Theoretically, if options screen. I need to figure out what this screen's gonna look like at some point. Man, this is the shit I hate. Alright, so I like the animation going in and out. I didn't realize I jacked this all up. Like that I expect to be broken, I just did that, but what is going on here? Like, look at the UI. I expect to pop here. I didn't update this. I don't expect this to pop down twice. That's weird. Speaking of which, let's just update that main menu sequence. Okay, your camera is... Haven't touched this in an age either. Your world space location has moved. To here. Also, you are now... Your field of view has changed. That's going to be awkward. Well, I can animate that. So... Make sure I'm messing with the right keys here. Definitely not. What you gonna do? I'm an animator, Marcos. This is kind of where... This is the one thing that doesn't make me dread shit. Do you work in Unity? I think that might actually just work. Do you feel like maybe this key should be a little bit over? Like maybe you should swing out a bit. That's way too fast. What the fuck are you doing here? Oh, that's a level. That's fine. Most of my animations are procedural as well. There's very few keys in this game. Like, it's alarmingly procedural. You can do beautiful things with procedural work. That's my wheelhouse. Like, basically all of the movement, up until very recently. If you go back and you look at the YouTube videos, anything from like 6 months ago or before, there was not a single key in here. And for the procedural stuff. What I love is anytime I do something like that where I'm scrolling cinematic, we immediately get like 4 to 5 viewers. And the second I open my mouth and start talking, they're like, oh no, fuck it. It's definitely a trend line there. I think I know how to be a hit on Twitch, and it's to shut the hell up and just scroll at animation. Alright, what? I thought this was broken for a second, but it's not. Okay, so... Well, that's not good. That's crap. Right, I forgot certain things. For instance. It should probably be outside. It's really nice. It's deceptive. It's freezing out there. Look at the weather. I'm burned by this every year. It's 48. It's not that bad. I should go outside. It's dropping 10 degrees tomorrow. Oh my god. And then 20 degrees the next week. Alright, so the problem is I changed the field of view on the camera, the main menu camera, and not on this. So surely I can change the field of view. Yes. This will be animated. Starting here. I lied. Starting here until about here. And you need to be what exactly? $50 to match my game camera. I never figured out how to set it so that for Perforce you don't have to log in every 24 hours. I'm sure it's a setting. I'm sure if I tried, I could figure it out. But who has the time? Okay. Not the biggest fan of this. Does kind of feel like it slides to the side for literally no reason. Okay, so what if we do this? Oh, that doesn't look intentional at all. going on here? Hey Hefty, what's up, dude? And hey Kaho. Sorry guys, I've been reading the chat. Not good. I don't know what I want this to look like. Why am I fucking with it? Whoa. Alright, well this takes way too long to come up and it comes up twice. Those are the next bugs. See? I'll set aside the cinematic for now. The UI should be up already. By the time it does come up, it's like way late. Don't know where that shit lives. I think it's here. All right. Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's in. I haven't touched this in so long. It's gotta be this. Main menu? Yeah. Okay, play the opening sequence. Alright, so the problem is I want the UI to come up when the camera stops moving, but there's all this tail after the camera stops moving where the lights turn on and shit. And I want to keep that. So I think I need to make an event. I don't do this nearly enough to have it memorized. I'm pretty sure I need to make an event here. Okay. I know I could put those at the bottom. Alright, and it'll be right here. And what we do here is properties, okay. What do I want to call this? Opening sequence completed. Because that's when it actually ends. The rest is just lights turning on and things that don't matter. So and then I think we just make an event called opening sequence completed. Man, I am drained. I have so much more energy when I am not streaming, I swear. Or maybe it's psychological. Maybe I'm working too hard this week. I don't know. I'm tired. Let's just see if anything works. Most likely nothing will work. Because it can't possibly be that easy. It did work. Kind of. I just added 2 breakpoints, so I'm checking to see when things get hit. So right here, it is hitting opening sequence completed. Nice. And that's executing. But other things aren't executing. I have to think about this. I know certain things do have to execute right at the end of this sequence running. For them, the thing that's lowering the world is a global material setting, which is animated over the course of the I miss calling it matinee. The matinee plays out. That's animating a global material global, which is shrinking the world down. And that's obviously going to keep playing after this is hit. So I guess I want to change it. So the only thing that happens when this is hit is that we do the UI stuff. Where is that called? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call this opening sequence completed show UI. You're going to go here. And then I'm going to roll this back to being what it was before. I'm going to remove the breakpoint. But I'm almost certain this is going to be a problem, that I don't have this. I'm almost certain I'm going to want that. Mode, get the main menu state. Turn main menu camera menu input. This just determines based on the state that I'm in what the main menu camera should be. Which I shouldn't even need to do that. It should be, well, okay, I'm not sure. Okay, so the opening sequence is done. Okay, so this runs as soon as the opening sequence is done if you're going through the matinee. This runs when the game is just loaded. When the game is just loaded, I want you to also do this. I know this looks like a mess. Just trust me. I think I want it to look like this. I'm beginning to hit the I don't give a fuck part of development. Which is bad, because there's a lot more to do. Okay. Well, that's not good. Now we have no UI at all. Fuck. Oh, right, because we renamed this. But we didn't rename the event that gets triggered. So... let's definitely do that. Oops. Still didn't get renamed. Funny story. Paste, enter. Save. Close. Maybe it'll stick. Closer. Now, I'm gonna record my screen. So I can see what the hell's going on here. Okay, so it comes up, it immediately draws this and then populates it, and crap. Interesting. Well, yeah, because it's not like hidden by default. So it's showing it and then hiding it and then animating it onto the screen. So, let's see. Let's get the cinematic. Calling UI to main menu level select. This calls. This is the big deal. Change UI level select. Level select, menu transition, remove current UI, update all buttons. They're coming from the main menu. Call this function. Okay, so what actually calls show and hide? Like the animations. Where is that done? How many hours a day do I work in the game? It depends. Hopefully, I mean, it's... depends on the day. Depends on what else I have to do. Like, I had to work at the molasses flood on Thursday because I'm still doing contract work for them, and we were moving offices and stuff. So on that day, I basically came home after work. I only got in like 2 or 3 hours, mostly puttering around. Other days I spend like probably 8, maybe 8 hours, maybe probably more than that. I mean, I need to move back to a normal person schedule. Like, that's occurred to me. I'm well aware of that. And the work is slowly tapering off. Like, before I keep having to travel and do talks and things. I keep signing up for this stuff, so I'm pretty much always working on something. It's either a talk or it's this. And I haven't, like, played video games in a year. So that has to change. Plus I want to like start going to the gym again and shit. So I'm going to try to ratchet it down to being just maybe either only 8 hours a day every day, or maybe I like introduce the concept of a weekend or something. There's some freedom in that though. Like, yeah, I'm not good at this shit. I know I'm missing out on good stuff, Michael. But at this point, what I'm doing is I'm holding out because, like, I'm going to get this UI done because I want to take this. There's a demo night at Boston Indies on Monday, and I can get like 2 or 3 completely fresh eyes that are total strangers and don't know me to play it. So that's good. I take days off. Starscream, you should keep in mind, like, so I say I worked on it every day when I was, but like, so I went to Norway and I gave a talk, right? And then after that, I took a solid week off. Yeah, like a solid 7 days after that. And I didn't open the editor or do anything. I just was like in Stockholm and northern Norway and stuff. So I take vacations. Like twice a year, I take big vacations. I'm planning to try to do that more. I think it's a lot easier to just be like, this is the time when I'm working and this is the time when I'm having fun. Yeah, I tend to sign up for too much stuff. I've started saying no to different talks and things. But it's hard because I'm scared because I like doing this. And I know logically, if I'm gonna take 2 or 3 years to make a game, I need to make 2 or 3 years worth of salary off of a game. So I need this to make a certain amount of money. And marketing is hard, and I don't really have like a business plan yet. So I just, anytime I'm invited to speak or show the game or do anything, I just say yes, right? So I went to EGX and I went to the Norway thing and I took a break after that. And I really needed that more than I realized. And now I'm like refreshed from vacation, so I'm hitting it pretty hard. But I could not work today, I guess, if I wanted to. There's just not anything else going on. I'll take Thanksgiving off, probably. Cook some food. I will say, historically, I like working over the, how do I say it? Historically, I love Christmas because everyone in the industry takes like all of December off for the most part. And so if you work at a studio or something, it's great because you won't be bothered. You can just decide to come up with, this is when I do like the tasks that I'm not supposed to do a lot of the times. You know, like a lot of game development, especially in the larger AAA studios, it's like you have a plate of tasks and your producers like, how long is this going to take, and you have to get through them. But usually around December, everyone's so busy, nobody expects anything to get done, so you can kind of just like decide like, I really want to, there's some weird tech thing I've always wanted to do, and I do it. And so I love the holidays because that's usually when I get the most work done. It's when I work on the stuff I want. So historically, I always work really, really hard in December. But maybe I won't this year because I work for myself now. I haven't figured this out yet. It's definitely a struggle. It's weirder now because I don't have the mental separation of going into an office. And my bed is like right there. So like my commute is 10 steps. Exactly. I like to think of it as being giving a gift to my studio when I decide to randomly do stuff over Christmas. But yeah, days off are important. Definitely. Hey, it was fun meeting everybody, Cal, at EGX. That was definitely super cool. Man, like, that's the other thing. It's like, yeah, that's work. Especially preparing that talk was a lot of work. Showing kind wasn't a big deal, but those talks, man, you put in like it takes me time to do those. I don't think people realize how much time and prep goes into those damn talks. A lot. So then you do them, and then like to put in like that much effort for a room of 20 people was probably stupid, but it got posted on games industry but not biz or whatever, so some other people saw it. I got a certain number of wish lists. I don't know, man. I don't know how marketing works. I said recently I'm just screaming to the void, and that's basically what's happening. But I don't even really think this is marketing. Like, I don't know. I don't have a plan yet. Really hoping that comes together soon. Other than like go to shows and pray. Yeah, the funny thing, Heffy, is I can know logically what the right things are to do long term. Like, you can know logically that sugar is bad for you and that you should eat less sugar, but then there's cake, or that's a bad example. Oh god, here's a good one. This is very personal, but I have extremely low vitamin D. Like, and every winter it hits me like a truck. I'll have days where I don't realize it, and I kind of feel a little bit grumpy or one day, or maybe I have a headache the next day, and then all of a sudden I have a day where I like can't get out of bed. And I'll have a week where I'm like sleeping 14 hours a day every day. And it's just this extreme lethargy and I can't do anything. And all I have to do is take vitamin D supplements. But I mean, the spring comes and I stop taking them, and I forget to start taking them again in the fall. And I know logically I should do that, but on any given day, if I forget it on one day, you're like, I'll take it tomorrow. I'll take it tomorrow. And that kind of snowballs, right? And so even though you know you're doing something stupid for the long term, maybe that's not a great example either. I'm dumb. Have you? That's what I'm saying. I'm dumb. Dumb at the long term thinking. I know logically this is bad. but I'm gonna do it because I'm an idiot. I'm trying not to, though, because I'm not a total idiot. I've done the crunching and burning out thing before. Yeah. I mean, I said this in the last stream, but like I went to the gym at least 3 times a week, every week for over 2 years. And then it was a combination of things happened. I was traveling and then I moved and I just didn't go to the gym for 3 weeks. And then now it's been months. And it's like, fuck. And I just can't get back into it. And part of it's like I'm bored of the gym now and I'm used to not going. Plus I'd have to find a new gym because I moved. It's that crap, man. And you think you're above it when you're like, when you have good habits and then something happens and you don't, and then it's like, oh, now here we are again. So yeah, I'm currently establishing bad habits. Have you? Now that I don't have an office to go to, I'm currently working every day, and I do plan out. I always have like a reason and a goal and an end time, right? Like, so right now, I'm going to spend this weekend and I'm going to make this UI look as good as possible and the first hour of the game look as good as possible, and then I'm going to take it to Boston Indies and I'm going to have a couple, like 2 or 3 people that have never played it before play it. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to take notes. Good. And then I'm going to spend the next couple days reacting to those notes, and I'm going to take Thanksgiving off. So like there's always a planned arc of like why I'm working and where the end is. So it's not that bad. It's not like I just work every day for no reason, you know? Yeah. Also, there's a lot of that cliche stuff that you tell yourself, like, it's not work if I love it. I'm actually having fun. And then you find yourself having to power through those days where you're like, oh, I just gotta get this done, and then it's not fun anymore, and then that doesn't work anymore, and then you don't know how to be a normal human being anymore. It hits different people in different ways. I'll say crunching when you're indie is so different from crunching when you're at a AAA studio. The feeling of it, like the low at the end is different. They're both bad. They're just bad in completely different ways. It's kind of hard to explain. I spent 3 years not being able to get any coding done after I got burnt out, and I thought I'd have to switch careers. Yeah. And part of that is like, some of it's healthy, right? You're like, I accomplished something, I did something cool. And everybody changes career. Like, the average person changes careers 2 or 3 times in their life. And if you feel like, you know what, I'm done, I'm gonna go do something else for a while, that's cool. Like, there's a reason why I'm doing this, right? Like, I'm not a designer or programmer. It was fun because I'm sick of animating. I'm really fucking sick of animating. And I don't think that's unhealthy. And so in a way, going from crunching on one thing to crunching on a different thing is not, like, bad. I think it's really normal to try to switch what you do, especially if you're passionate, to move into something that's kind of tertiary. Heffy, were you at like a AAA studio that was crunching you, or were you crunching on your own? There's good and bad to a AAA crunch, man. Like, part of me misses that stuff. There's the, I mean, there's good and there's bad. There's definitely the hate because you're not the one that's making the decision, somebody else is telling you to do it, so that's just psychologically different when you're being forced to do it. But then there's also the just sheer amount of pampering you get in AAA, which is fantastic. Where you'll be like, I really want to go home. Or you'll be like, I need to go home. I need to do my laundry. And your producer's like, oh, well, this is a problem we can solve. Let's get your laundry done for you. Is there a way, like, we'll have a service come pick up your laundry. Like, nothing. Any chore. We'll have somebody come clean your house. We don't care. Like we'll solve this with money. Just stay at work. Which is like, then crunch ends and you have to do your laundry again and you're like, God damn it. But also, you know, there's a lot of other baggage that comes with that. It's just a very different kind of crunch. Software dev. Yeah. Oh man, I miss that shit. I miss like the crunch threshold was not the worst in the industry, but we did have certain perks. Like they had a masseuse that would come in every Thursday. I think Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we would there were certain people that always line up for the masseuse and we started heckling them. We're like, oh, you're gonna take an hour off again to get a fucking foot rub, are you, Joe? You gonna make up that hour later, Joe? And then that got a little bit dark. Yeah, you should. The crunch in AAA is kind of absurd at times. It's also just a very different vibe depending on which field you're in. Like, the engine programmers have the kind of hurry up and wait crunch, I guess, where it's like you submit something to cert and then you sit in the office until you hear back. And your ass is going to be in that chair. That's when you hear like the 100-hour crunch from people who are engine programmers. They're not programming the vast majority of that time. They're waiting. They're just on call. They're just not allowed to leave the office. They're just having a giant foosball tournament. They're not allowed to leave. There will be cots in the office. Because if that fucking thing fails, sir, if there's a single like tiny ass hiccup, you need to turn that around immediately. Because you can't slip your date. Not if you're making something like a real big game. Not if you're making like a AAA game, you know? So that's when you start getting the stories where they like, for the people who are there at the very end, who are the people who are making sure you don't cert fail, they will get a hotel for you across the street from the studio. Your ass is gonna be in that chair. They don't care what you do, but your ass better fucking be in that chair. But yeah, which is not true at all in indie. Indie crunch is just different. It's largely self-imposed. It's nowhere near as fun. Not that crunch is ever fun, but it's you don't have the camaraderie, I think is the difference. I don't know how to explain it. When you go through crunch with other people, you bond. Like some of my best friends are my coworkers. When you're going through cert, it's certification. So you do pre-cert, which is this is new. This has really alleviated a lot of the pressures of crunch. Actually, is you can you do a pre-cert, which is you send a build to Microsoft and you or whoever, and they tell you all the things that are gonna make you fail cert when you do submit to cert. It's basically a freebie cert, and then you do proper cert, and you better fucking pass that. And then Microsoft will hem and haw and say like, oh, this will be some amount of time. But if you're like Red Dead Redemption or some shit, there's a song and dance these companies will do. Like Microsoft will be like, you need to do this, otherwise you will not pass cert. And then you'll be like, fine, we'll be out on the PS4 and on the PC and not on the Xbox. We'll be late on the Xbox because you had to be a bitch about this fucking pulling the controller out thing. And then all of a sudden Microsoft will change the tune. If you're a big enough game, it flips the script. If you're an indie, obviously the script is not flipped. Microsoft says no and you fucking bend over and deal with it. Yeah. It's hard to talk about crunch though, because it's such a hot button issue, have you? Because there's a good side to it, and if it's short, it's great. If it's short and if it's purposeful. You can fail Steam cert? Oh yeah, you can, can't you? Yeah, Steam cert's like a small thing. Steam is so fucking easy, Michael, compared to the others. You've no idea. I mean, you probably do have an idea. Like, the goddamn... If a user pulls their controller out of the console on this screen, then, you know, the fucking... Your error message is incorrect. It's like, fuck you. but that's normal. That's like console cert. And Microsoft has softened a lot. They've both, all of cert has softened quite a bit. I'm interested to see how what happens in the new generation. I'm waiting for that. I'll know when the boxes come in, because Elmore will no longer let me into his office. I still drop by like about once every week or two. The day that door is locked is the day he's got a new console in there. They bounced me because my keyboard was P1 and the gamepad was P2. Oh. They didn't like that the game didn't react to the gamepad being plugged in after the EXE launch. Shit. I didn't know they were that sticklers for that stuff. Sony cert is much worse. Absolutely. Yeah, Callum. You don't have hard deadlines in the automobile industry? You just gotta be big enough that they don't care. That's a shitty thing to say. Big enough that Microsoft will deal with you because you're Red Dead Redemption or something. It's incredibly stressful. I mean, I feel like the vast majority of things are outside of my hands. Like, if yeah. Steam can, for a lot of people, they're really freaked out because Steam can make a call that's like, we're not going to have certain content on our storefront anymore, and then your content, like, you are nothing compared to these large companies, and they can make a change in a day that just completely destroys you. I have examples of it, but I'm trying to think of which ones I've told already. I've told this one before. There was a console, a micro console. This is a long story. There was a micro console in China. This is back when micro consoles were hot. We were about to get about a $500,000 deal for the molasses flood. And all we had to do was say that we wouldn't come out on the on any Android device, which we weren't ever going to be on a mobile device, within China. And that's fine, sure. The company that was going to give us a $500,000 for this, they were building a micro console, and the tech they were using NVIDIA chips. Anyway, a lot of people signed these deals. We waffled because the deal was in Chinese and we didn't know about it. It seemed too good to be true. Like, we were basically getting $500,000 for like no reason, to be on their console and not on any other Android device in China. That was nothing for us. We were like, yeah, of course. But it's too good to be true. So we took our time with it. We spent a month. We had a lawyer check it out. By the time we came back and we said yes, it was too late because NVIDIA had found out about it. And NVIDIA was pissed because they have this thing called NVIDIA Shield that they wanted to be, they wanted the NVIDIA Shield to be successful. And this is technically running like the Google OS or whatever. And anybody that signed a deal with this micro console company couldn't come out in the NVIDIA Shield. So, and this micro console was using NVIDIA's tech. So NVIDIA went to them and was like, look, we're going to double your tech. And if we find out you've signed double the price of our chips, unless you fucking stop this shit. And so NVIDIA went to them and said, anybody that we've ever talked to, if we've ever talked to them, and if we're trying to get them on the Shield, you are not allowed to try to sign them. And we didn't know about any of this. So the rep calls us one day and he was like, by the way, have you heard of NVIDIA Shield? And we're like, yeah, we heard of it. I think they called us once. And that was how we lost $500,000. it's like bullshit. How quickly. You have no idea, man. You are just nothing. There's a game being played at just a higher level than us at all times. I think it's less risky these days because the competitors are rising up. If Valve made a move like that, Discord or GOG would make a big deal that they support X type of content and bring in all the devs and players of that genre. It'd still be a big upheaval, but it's now a lot riskier for Valve to do that sort of thing. True. Yeah, that's true. There's possible competitors now. But I mean, any of it. Like, my big fear is anytime Microsoft and Epic fight. Because I need these two companies to get along. Because I need this engine to be running on Microsoft's technology. Otherwise, I can't be on Microsoft's technology. Or I have to learn a new engine. And I don't want either of those worlds to happen, right? And there's realities like... say Fortnite doesn't come out on the Google Play Store. Do you think the biz dev people at Google are pleased about that? I mean, these big companies, or just the things Tim Sweeney says about Microsoft. And the fact that Epic is owned by Tencent, right? Or just anytime, like, I rely on the fact that certain companies at least get along and are somewhat civil, right? And if at any time that falls apart, then I am completely fucked. And that's just kind of the world I live in. You feel like that's why they shifted their stance on me? Yeah. On the, like, I can't say it out loud, NSF, not safe for work games. Yeah. It's hard to say what Steam is going to do. I am extremely excited for the future. I think the next 2 years are going to actually change things. I think we're about to see a lot of cool stuff. I'm excited for the next console generation. The last console generation was just like what the PC is doing, but more. This new console generation is going to have new things. Like, it's going to have streaming at a minimum. It's possibly going to... Maybe they'll integrate... I don't know. I haven't heard shit about the HoloLens in an age. I have absolutely no idea what Microsoft is doing. I'm really hopeful for the future right now. I think there's a lot of cool tech out there. I am cautiously optimistic about streaming. I think it's cool. I think the potential there is so cool if it actually comes together. Which I hope. But we are all, you know, tiny little indie devs now. We need an American internet infrastructure to get fixed up if streaming really is the future, because that'd be so cool. Yeah, there's a lot of things that excite me about streaming. I've talked about it before as far as design goes too. Like the idea of, people have been talking about this for a long time, the idea that you can play a game on any of your devices, the idea that you can use multiple screens for a game, the idea that because the idea that you're playing a game on a server that's somewhere else, you could easily, and you're just outputting video, you could just show that video to other people. You could easily implement a round robin style gameplay because anybody can just pick up the controls from anywhere. There's a lot of things about that are extremely exciting, but it is very much reliant on the internet. and the infrastructure of the internet is different in different countries around the world, and it would suck if the new wave of exciting gaming stuff was only America too, because you can talk about how shitty our infrastructure is, but our internet is a lot better than most of the world, right? And the beautiful thing about this was supposed to be that people didn't need to buy an expensive computer to play AAA games. Like the hallmark, the selling thing, the thing that people are like beating the drum about is this idea that you can just have some very shitty tablet and go play a AAA quality game. Or some very shitty laptop and be playing a AAA quality game just because you have internet, right? But still, we need to have internet for that to be true. I'd be excited for the opportunity for TV manufacturers to ship a standard controller and the TV itself can be your console. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's streaming. Like all of it. I'm extremely excited for what Google's doing. I love it. The idea that all you need to do is open a Chrome browser on any fucking device at all. And like, I think that's what they're doing at least, based on what I've seen. That's cool. The Google Project Stream or whatever looks cool. I should read more into it. I am very excited about that stuff. I do think that's the holy grail. And on that note, I'm gonna go get lunch. It's almost 1 o'clock. And I'm getting sleepy. This is kind of a tired, low-key stream, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, what if we get a knock-on side effect of developers getting lazy with optimization? I mean, is it laziness, or is it just being more efficient with your time at that point? If you know exactly what the hardware is, and you make something that runs perfectly on the hardware, isn't that good? Like, if you... like, isn't that the point? Though I strongly suspect you're wrong. I think in the short term, we're going to need to get a lot more aggressive about optimization. If this is going to work. Not... I mean, I don't know much. I'm not a programmer, but I imagine you want your data packets that are going over the internet to be as small as possible. I imagine you want your game to be as responsive as possible so you can cut down any... because you're already going to have this lag time of the internet, so you don't want to also have a slow-ass game. Your game better be really fucking responsive. I imagine... I mean, it's going to be something where there's still going to be optimization, it's just going to be in a different direction, most likely. And I'll admit, I love this stuff, but I don't know enough about it. I'm not a programmer. I wonder how, if the hosting services would end up basing their costs based on how much performance your game is eating up. Like Red Dead should cost a lot more hosting than Kine. Yeah, that's a huge question, is how the pricing model is going to totally change. This also goes into... have I said this on stream before? I think the subscription model is going to make episodic games a lot more feasible. I actually think if Telltale could have held on until we had a subscription model, they would have been a perfect buy. Microsoft's been buying studios left and right. I suspect Microsoft is going hard for the exclusives on their new console. I suspect they want to go subscription model hard. I can tell you what I think Microsoft is doing, but the reality is I love Microsoft, but they do seem to change their minds quite a bit. So by the time their console comes out, they may not have the same interests that they have right now. But I suspect they're buying up these studios because they want to have games for their Games with Gold or their subscription service. From last I heard, they were really excited about their the idea of subscription services. But at this point, that's old intel. I have no idea what they're into now. Man, I just don't have my finger on the pulse anymore. Games Pass is booming with a heavy library. Yeah. Is it booming? I'd have to see the numbers. Like, how much is Microsoft spending on those games? Versus, like, oh, those new studios are definitely doing exclusives, yeah. We put the Flame and the Flood up for one of those things. Was it Games with Gold or Games Pass? I think it was Games Pass. And that was just like a month for free. Similar to everybody. Like, we did the same thing with Twitch, with Humble. I'm not allowed to talk about how the pricing works for that stuff. I am curious how much Microsoft makes off of that. I suspect if they locked it down and had it just be their own games, that would be interesting. I know they wanted to set themselves up as being like the HBO of video games, which is interesting. The idea that they have there's a suite of Microsoft games and you have to buy a subscription to their subscription service to get access to this suite of games. Pretty much all of them were worthwhile. The Twitch one was the most worthwhile for money versus sales-ish. Anytime we had sales, or we haven't done any bundles that I regret yet at the Molasses Flood. We always see a boost in sales across other platforms and on Steam in general whenever we are free on something. So if we give away a bunch of keys for free, say through this Twitch thing, which we did, then people see their friends playing on Steam and then they buy the game. So we see sales even when we're free. In fact, we see a bump in sales when we're free on some storefront or other. But those deals are not as good as they used to be, from what I hear. There's always a time early in the development of early in the development of any system or platform, people who are developing that platform will spend a lot more money in order to lock down exclusives and things. How do I put this? They'll take a loss early on, so they'll give you a lot more money early on when they're trying to set up a subscription service, right? And I'm curious to see how long that continues. Also, I mean, this is known whenever a new console comes out. Microsoft, Sony, everybody opens up their pocketbooks and funds fucking everything they can in AAA, not necessarily in indie, in order to try to lock down, get that hit franchise that is going to hold through for this console generation. Because generally a hit franchise, the release of a new console generation and a hit franchise generally happen at roughly the same time a lot. And it's important to have a lot of new exciting content quickly on your new console. So if they released say Microsoft releases a new console, even if they had a back catalog. If it's a back catalog where most people already have those games on Steam or something, no one gives a shit. They need that new hot, sexy title that'll get people to buy their hardware early on. So they'll spend a lot of money trying to hunt that new, sexy, hot title. And I already gave you my prediction. Consoles will be up by 2020, given the current trajectory. It's my guess. I have not yet signed an NDA. When I start shutting the fuck up is when I actually know. Or when I've signed something. But yeah. I think it's fascinating that Sony pulled out of E3 this year. That does kind of hinder my plans, though they could just be saving it. I don't know. No, maybe they... I don't know. But yeah, Sony's not going to E3 in 2019. It's fascinating. Alright, now for real. I'm gonna take off and get some food. Yeah. No problem, Michael. Thanks for hanging out. I think we all think Sony's gonna do something else. Later, Cowhome. Oh fuck, I should rate somebody. Sorry, I always forget. Good vibes. Who's online? Who's this person? I've never gone to their channel.
What the? Okay, hold on. Now I'm confused.
I can't handle that music. I'm not 16 and male. Yeah, I don't know how to be online. I'm just gonna go get food. See you guys later.